today for our first leadership training for our Connect groups. Today we are going to be going over chapters 1 through 4 of Leading Small Groups by Chris Surratt. So we have our staff with us here today. And we are going to start off with talking about what a small group leader is. Okay, so let's talk about, with everybody in this room, what do you imagine when you hear the word leader? And feel free to just popcorn share.
I think especially in this setting, a leader would be somebody whose ego is on the back burner and look to draw leadership out of people that are in the room with them. Lead them by example, not so much by hope.
I think in a group setting, the leader is someone that organizes, plans, puts all the details together for how the time with group is going to go.
I think of somebody, like there used to be an old picture I used to share with our football team. My boss is kind of pointing like, hey, do that. The leader's like in the mud with the people, so like we're in it. A leader's in it with them, you know, and we're going through all the same stuff kind of. I'm just helping lead you through it. That's usually what I think of with a leader.
I was thinking pretty similar in just the sense of someone who is helping connect people to, you know, God's purpose, which isn't something that you can just tell someone what to do. It's someone who is walking alongside of someone in it. And like Pastor Bill said, just someone whose ego isn't out front, but who is humble and real and just trying to help other people say, I'm trying to follow Jesus and let's do this together.
I like that. I like the fact that we're saying things like they're connected with their people. They know what's going on in their lives and they stay connected with them. It's not just a meeting situation, but it's a life situation.
And I think the term leader is something that, depending on your experience with leadership or your personality, that can be a big word that can feel intimidating to some people. And a lot of times, somebody who feels intimidated by that word, they can feel intimidated because they don't picture themselves as a leader. They imagine somebody who has worldly standards of success. I know I've struggled with that. Like I would imagine somebody that's like a CEO or somebody who's super successful financially or a business owner or things that are not me, the things and qualities and characteristics that are the opposite from me. And so there are people who struggle with the term of being a leader, and it can feel like, oh, I'm not adequate or prepared or equipped enough to be a leader. But that's something that we're going to talk about, is that there's no cookie cutter template for an effective leader. We are all flawed, we are all human, we are all capable of being an effective leader. And so what we're going to start off talking about is what a leader is not. And we're going to talk about 3 things. So a leader is not somebody who has all the answers. They're not somebody who has it all together. They've achieved perfection. It is okay to not have all the answers. And that's actually something that we want to target as a leader, is to be humble in our ways, to walk humbly, to recognize I don't have it all together. We are all human, we are all flawed, we all make mistakes. And that's okay. And that we want to achieve those oh, you too moments of, oh, you struggle with that too, you've experienced that too, you've been through that too, oh, well, me too. And then we're able to relate and connect with our people because we bring ourselves down and we're humble and we're just real with them. The second thing a small group leader is not is somebody who can teach the Bible weekly. We fully believe in you to be a strong facilitator. Whether you are going through the sermons, whether your group is going through a book, using Right Now Media, you are using those lesson portions and you are facilitating and digging deep, taking your people and discussing, and you're facilitating, you're asking questions, you're challenging them to dig deeper, you're challenging them in their faith and in their walk and in their Bible study and in their prayer time. The third thing that a small group leader is not is somebody who's everybody's best friend. It is okay to not have to be everybody's best friend, but we have a goal for you to find 2 to 3 people that you can really dig deep with. You can pour into them. We want you to pour into them, to spend time getting to know them and disciple them outside of your small group time. And we want you to do that to help model what it looks like to dig deeper into relationships with people. Are there any thoughts that you all would love to add about these 3 points of what a leader is not?
I think if we sit and all we do is just teach all the time and everybody's just receiving and we're not really teaching them or showing them how to just open the word and ask questions, how to open the word and dig deeper. And I think it's really cool that in a small group setting and conversation just naturally happens. It's like, oh, well, I see this now. Now that you said that, this sticks out to me. And I think it's cool for people to have their own experience of digging into the word themselves instead of it always just being taught to them.
Because there's a big difference between it being something that I'm trying to convince you of or tell you should do, and the Holy Spirit revealing it to someone when it becomes their faith.
There's a specific quote in our book that I want to read to you, and it's in your slides if you want to follow along as well. You should have it printed out and in your binder. But this is what it says. When your group members look at you, they are not putting their faith in you as the leader, but in the Spirit's power working through your weakness. And this is something that I love. I love the wording that Chris Surratt uses, because they're not looking at you as the leader and hoping for you to fill a void that you can't fill, that only Christ can fill. But to be able to look at their leader and recognize, no, they're just allowing the Spirit to work through them. And through that allowance, through that obedience, you are walking out what it looks like to be Spirit-led and to own, I know I'm not perfect, I know I'm weak, and I know I fall short, but I have God's strength in me, and He is preparing me, and He's equipping me, and that's what makes me a leader. Yeah. Not that I have it all together, but that I have Christ guiding and directing every step, and just being obedient to where He leads me. All right, now let's talk about what good leaders are, what good leaders do. And there are 4 things that the book talks about that I would love for you to go back and reread. Follow your slides. There's awesome details and explanations to go along with each one, but we're going to kind of condense them down to these 4 points. So the first one, good shepherds lead from the heart. The second one, good shepherds lead with compassion. The third one, good shepherds lead from the front. And the fourth one, good shepherds lead sacrificially. Now let's talk about the third point, good shepherds lead from the front, for a second, because if you think that means you have to be up on the stage, go back and read your book. But let's talk about that for just a second. So good shepherds leading from the front does not mean you have to be up on a stage, you're behind the pulpit, you're up preaching. It doesn't mean that you are dictating the conversation and taking over. But what this means is that you are a leader that is willing to set the example for the people that are in your group. Leading from the front means that you are willing to serve your group, to exemplify what it looks like to serve. And leading from the front also looks like being willing to be vulnerable, being willing to be transparent with the people in your group. And if you're recognizing that some people are not quite getting to where they feel comfortable to share, well, you can set the tone by you sharing something that's personal to you, by taking a moment to be vulnerable and share, well, this is something that I've been struggling with, or this is something that I learned in my reading. And not necessarily to answer your own question, but to model and set the example for your people what it looks like to open up, to be vulnerable with what you're saying, that it's okay, this is a safe place to share. And just leading from the front in that regard. Okay. Here is one of our goals that we have for you as one of our Connect Group leaders, is we want you to be able to say at the end of the time with the people in your group, at the end of our time as leaders, we want to know that we led our flock well, that you are a leader who you prioritized the things that were important, that you prioritized digging deeper in your relationships with your people, that you prioritize discipleship and what it looks like for you to disciple your people, and then teaching them to go out and disciple. That's what discipleship is all about. And so we want to be able to say that at the end of our time, we led our flock well. And I love that thought. Are there any thoughts that y'all would love to add to what a leader is, to what a leader looks like?
I think one thing to add to this context of leadership is that we are in leading the people that they're around. They're also following the leading of our shepherd or leader. So the pastor builds vision for the church and for the people, and then they are a hand extended in this setting to lead from his leadership and from his teachings.
At this time, we would like for you to pause the video and reflect on these 4 points and what it would look like for you as the leader of your Connect group to lead from the heart, to lead with compassion, to lead from the front, and to lead sacrificially. Let's transition into talking about part 2, which is chapter 2 of our book, which focuses on creating biblical community. And first and foremost, it hits it in the book, and we want to talk about it here today. Biblical community happens when there's a devotion to both corporate gatherings and meetings within a home. So Pastor Bill, I would love if you would share with us your heart on this matter.
You know, Ms. Ashland, I think it's so important that we gather corporately. Yes, that's where we worship the Lord. That's where the Holy Spirit moves corporately and altar calls. But what we don't have is a small group atmosphere. And that small group atmosphere will cause people to, what we said earlier in the first portion, that people will start sharing their struggles, their hurts, their problems. And the sanctuary is not conducive for that. It's not. But a small group is. When you leave that building and go into a home, it just does something to people. They're in your home, and now there's an intimacy that we didn't have in the sanctuary. And I believe that not only will people learn how to be vulnerable in a small group setting, but they'll also feel and reap the benefits of being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because they'll find out there's more people struggling than just me. So yeah, that's very important, is actually. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The reason why both of these types of gatherings are important is because we want the final goal of any group that we have to be discipleship. We want people to gather together. We want to help them mature as believers. And so as the leaders, as you as a leader and us as leaders are pouring into the people in our group, the goal is for them to be able to get to a place where they are mature in their walk to where they can then go and disciple others. And then those people will then go and disciple others. And then those people will then go and disciple others. And so with that being our final goal, it is so important that we prioritize both going to services Sundays and Wednesdays, but also that we create a safe place within our homes or wherever you decide to meet to help prioritize discipleship and deepening in relationships with the people that are in your group.
And you know, Miss Ashley, I think too that people will come to a home that would never grace the doors of a church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But after time with church people, they'll realize maybe I do need to get plugged in, and because both are important. Like you said, we need both. We gotta have both.
And I think something that small groups gives opportunity to is creating a safe place for people to just feel safe and feel. And I think a lot of people desire and want to connect, but then they feel like if I really share everything, how's that going to be received? And I think when we have small group time together in our Connect groups and everyone's sharing and have those Me Too moments like we talked about before, it's just going to grow community where people feel safe and they feel genuinely loved and like we really are for each other. And that's what discipleship is.
Right.
Discipleship is just building a relationship with someone in a way that they feel like they really can be their truest self with you and be honest with you, and then you can lead them and guide them in the Word and in how to live this life for God, because that's what we're all trying to do, you know. And I think discipleship can sometimes be intimidating when we think of it as like, oh, I need to instill to you my knowledge and my wisdom, when it really is just linking arms together.
Yeah.
Let's build a relationship together and just having accountability, having community where we're growing together and that there's movement forward.
Yes. Yes, that's good. And that leads us to that discipleship is not a static process. It's not something where you stay and you don't move, you never move forward. We want to have that movement forward. And we're always moving towards something, or at least we should be. We should be moving towards Christ and moving towards others. And so the more that we, just as Megan said, we're linking together, we're arm in arm. And this is something we've talked about with our youth kids, is that it can be easy to talk about things that you've been through in the past. I've been through that, but I'm on this side now, and I've made it through, and it can be easy to talk about that. But it can be hard to talk about what I'm currently going through, things I'm currently struggling with, the temptation I'm currently facing. And just as Megan touched on, having accountability in that, and people that are able to walk with you, not from a place of judging you, but from a place of walking with you to hold you accountable, to know that I can count on you. I can count on you as my friend to help me pursue the things of Christ, to help me keep my eyes focused on what's important. And so that's our goal. We're always moving forward. We're always moving towards others. We're always moving towards Christ. And as we're moving toward, let's all move towards Christ. Along with building biblical community, we also want you to have fun with your group. We want you to create an environment that's conducive for laughter and joy and playing games and all the fun things. And look at the people in your group and think about, what would this group enjoy doing? And it can be in your space. You can plan something on the weekend. You can go out to eat. And again, that all comes back to your building that community. You're deepening those relationships, because when people enjoy being around the people that they're around, that's when we have these byproducts of sharing, of vulnerability, of all these different things, because they enjoy who they're around. They start to trust who they're around. They feel safe with who they're around. And that all starts with having fun together. So think about some ideas that you can incorporate to help your group have some fun together.
You know, Miss Ashton, having fun and breaks down barriers. When people laugh, barriers are broken down. And we have so many surface relationships, not deep relationships, just surface. And that will be brought about, depth of relationship, because people break down walls laughing, and next thing you know, they're sharing things they might not share otherwise.
That's right. Along the lines of y'all going out and doing things, or inside your home to have fun, we also want to encourage you to serve missionally. However often y'all want to, if y'all want to get together and think about what are some ways that we can serve our community. That's an awesome way to go out and have fun together, but also while getting the chance to serve the community around us. And if you ask the people within your group, a lot of times there are great ideas that are brought about for different ways, big and small and everything in between, for how we can be the hands and feet of Jesus to our community. We also want to encourage you to not be afraid to change things up within your group, because ultimately we want you to have a good balance of everything.
I think one thing about being mission-minded is don't let that intimidate you. Just like we're saying with leadership, discipleship, don't let the missional aspect of it intimidate you either, because it can be small. It can be like this summer, Pastor Case took some youth around and they delivered water bottles around the neighborhood to kids that were outside playing. Like, it doesn't have to be some giant community outreach. It can be, meals to a family, or, something, like you said, get ideas from your group, something that's feasible and doable for your group. But don't let it intimidate you to just not do anything.
Right.
That's good.
Yeah, Jeremiah 29 is you have these people groups who are in captivity, in Babylon, and how God tells them what to do is bless the community they're in. It says build gardens, take care of it, and he says pray for your city, which you can sit in exile for its welfare is your welfare. So I think if we can create our culture and our small groups that loves our city, and loves our town, or Crittenden County, however you want to word it, but if we're serving in our town and we're serving God together, it grows, one, relationships as we grow closer to God. So me and this person are growing closer together as we're growing closer to God. The changing up things too. We did some stuff that stunk with our youth small groups, it did. And but we've tried new things, and one thing we've been doing recently was part with the serving. We were like, all right, what are our ideas? And then we were like, all right, let's pick one. And so we picked one, and then we got to serve together, and it turned out really well. And it was a really cool moment that we got to have with our students, and I think they've grown from it, and the community was blessed by it. So.
Yeah, I think it's cool when you give your group input on things, because they kind of own that a little differently than whenever you just say, this is what we're doing.
Yeah. And don't be afraid if somebody comes up with an idea that you think that is way bigger than our Connect group can do. Bring it to the staff person you're talking to, bring it to another group leader, and go ahead and don't be afraid, even though we are wanting to develop community within your small Connect group. If it's an ideal for reaching our community as a whole and you need more help, then please let people know. If it's a great idea, that may turn into a whole church thing, and that's okay too. So don't overlook an idea because it seems too big to develop. Just talk to some of the staff members and let's see if we can help find a way to do that, because if somebody in your group thought of it, then probably somebody else in the church has thought of it too, and they're just waiting for somebody to bring it on out and to join in and help. So don't worry about being limited because you think it's too big. Just ask for help and let's figure it out.
Yeah, and if you tell people we can't do that, that might be the last thing they ever bring up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true.
And giving your group members a hand in different ideas. Also, when the time comes to show up and serve, you're more than likely going to have more people show up to serve because they had a hand in the idea as a group for what we're going to go out and do. Versus if it's just me as the leader, oh, let's go and do this, then maybe like, and then it may be just you and a couple other people. But if they have a hand, like Meg shared, ownership in it. And so when the time comes to show up and go and do, more than likely they're going to show up and go and do with you. We want you to have a good balance in your group between building community and having fun. And so with that in mind, it is okay to course correct. If you are reflecting on your time with your group and you're recognizing, I think we need to have a little bit more of fun, engaging time. I think we need to have a little bit more of open discussion. I think we need to have a little bit more time for questions, whatever it is. I think it'd be more beneficial to meet every week instead of every other week. Whatever it is in your time of reflection, and what you think would help your group be successful, it is okay to occasionally course correct. And that is why we, as your staff pastors, are partnering with you. We're walking alongside you. We are helping you, because if there's any bumps in the road and you're like, I don't really know what to do, I want to help my group be more successful in this area, that's what we're here for. We are here to help you. We're here to walk alongside you. We're here to help you brainstorm new ideas if you feel like things have kind of just grown stagnant, or if you are maybe struggling to get participation among the people in your group. Whatever it is, that's what we're here for, and we want you to have a good balance between both building community and having fun. I want to challenge you to think about how whenever your people leave your small group time together, they leave thinking, my leader thought about me. Think about the different ways that you can help make it personal to your people, make it inviting, make it a safe place, and let them leave thinking they thought about me.
Heard the statement before that love is in the details, and that when people can tell that you thought about them coming or being there or remembered something that was going on with them, then they feel like you love and are invested in them. And so just being mindful about connecting with the people, even if it's in an area that you think no one will notice this, but it could be something that a different personality is like, oh, they thought about that, having extra of this, or they thought about this, or they remembered what I said last week.
We want you to take a moment and pause the video to think about some different ways that you can build community within your group. To break down chapter 3 of our book, we are going to read some questions to you, and we'd love for you to reflect on these questions and be prepared to talk about it with your staff pastor. So question number 1, does putting together details excite you or paralyze you? Question number 2, where will my group meet? What are the positives and negatives to choosing that location? Question 3, what type of group member are you hoping to attract, and what day and time will make the group most accessible for them? And question 4, how long should my group meet? Chapter 4 goes into some logistical details, but we're going to go ahead and break down for you what Connect Groups will look like here at WMFA. And the first thing we want you to know is that Connect Groups will be open for people to join at any time. And this is important to us because we want our group members to feel encouraged to invite guests, to invite their neighbors, invite their friends. And we do want to still keep the numbers small because connection is something that we want to prioritize. We want to keep our numbers to no more than about 12 people. So whenever your group starts growing and it starts reaching close to that max capacity of 12, we would love for you to get in contact with your staff pastor so that we can help you come up with a game plan for moving forward. Connect groups will be ongoing with the intention of being long-term. So this is not something that we're doing for just 6 weeks or 8 weeks. This is something that we want to have ongoing for a long time. Connect groups can take place on campus at the church or off campus, and this is the conversation you can have with your staff pastor to help you make the best decision for your Connect group. Information for the next training is in your slideshow, so please look at that for details for our next training. We just want to thank you. We want to thank you for saying yes. We want to thank you for coming alongside us and joining our Connect Group leadership team. And we just want to say that we're so thankful to have you as a part of our church family and to have you as one of our Connect Group leaders. And we cannot wait to see what your obedience is going to do for the Lord's kingdom.